Welcome to the most overrated, underappreciated, most viewed on the view podcast of all time. Welcome to, you guessed it, the Prince of Fresh Air. This is your host, the most charismatic man in entertainment, aka the Mr. Tall Glass of Water. And I am welcomed and honored to have a friend by the name of Mateo Rossi. That's right, he's a producer, director, and it's good to have you on the show, man.
It's good to be here, man. I'm happy to be here.
So let's start from the beginning.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the show is because people always hear from the actor's perspective
Mhm.
of the grind and the career and the hustle, but a lot of
Yeah.
people don't know about directors. They don't know what it's like to be a producer. So for you, how did you get involved in the business?
It's a good question. Actually, when I was around 12, 13 years old, I actually did act. I acted in some plays, in some musicals. I did that. And it was cool. It was cool. It was different, but I knew it around 15 or 16. I just loved writing. I just loved telling stories. I loved doing all that. And then once I got to college, San Diego State, I was like, let's just turn this piece of paper into a film. It's turned into a short film. And at 19, I just started making short films, kind of putting ads out there, just reaching out to people I know,
Mhm.
and gone to a few festivals. I loved it, and I kind of never looked back. I just said, you know what, this is my calling. This is what I got to do, and I've been doing it, thankfully, ever since.
Wow, that's amazing. How has the journey been for you as a director and producer? Has it been a lot of bumpy roads, a lot of hiccups? Because I've seen you done some good projects.
Oh, thank
Um,
you. Thank you. Yeah, it definitely has been. There have been ups and downs, just like with anything. You wait a lot. There's people who are all talk, no action. You burn out money. You think that there's a close call, and then it never happens. But thankfully, especially in the last, I'd say 5 years, I've built up a good team that I trust, that I believe in, that I know are good, and we make some good stuff now. But yeah, no, of course there's stuff where you think that you got this film that's automatically, once it's released, boom, you get in your $20 million feature next. And
right.
it's usually I mean, it doesn't play out like that a lot. You gotta hustle, you gotta pound the pavement, you gotta just keep going. If you think that you're gonna make a film that's gonna be the next Star Wars, or the next film that blow the hell up, uh, I mean, it could happen, but more times than not, you got to just capitalize on the next one. You got to just keep going. It's about consistency.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, I one thing I realized throughout my journey was that when you have momentum, you have to run with it, because if you sit on the couch chilling, waiting for Netflix to knock on your door, it's not coming. Um,
And
but
yep,
I actually wanted to ask you something, because
sure,
I met you through social media, aka
yep,
Twitter.
Twitter, yep.
And I see you're active on there. You post a lot of positive tweets and stuff like that,
Thank,
encouraging people to pursue their dreams. So
thank.
I wanted to ask you, how has social media helped you in your career? And do you think it's essential for, people who are looking to pursue a career in entertainment to have social media?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, especially now. Yeah, 100%. Because you got to build your brand, whatever that may be. Whether you're an actor, filmmaker, YouTuber, singer, whatever it may be, you got to sell your product, so to speak, and your product is you. So
Absolutely.
I think it's essential. I've met a couple, and they're a little bit old school, or maybe they're a little bit older, that they don't have social media and they haven't established themselves. Like, see, people like De Niro, Pacino, all that, they don't need social media. They're already
Right.
established. They're already,
Right.
legends. But if you're trying to like get your name out there and trying to build up, you got to have it. You got to have it, whether it's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whatever it may be. I mean, I think Twitter and Instagram are the two most important, but and YouTube, of course, for YouTubers or for people who make videos. But
Right.
oh yeah, man, I mean, I've gotten gigs off of social media. I've networked, and I'll tell you something. My feature film Chase, it's on Amazon and all of that. You can check it out. Ari Spears, you've heard of Ari Spears, right?
Yes,
The magic,
absolutely.
yeah, Ari Spears, good dude. We met off of Twitter.
Oh,
We
wow.
met Twitter, and we just kind of built that rapport. We built, then we met up, everything, and then it just worked. But if it was not for Twitter, if it was not for social media, who knows? Who knows what would have happened? So I've met a lot of good people. I've had people reach out to me. I've reached out to people, and oh, dude, it's so important, man. It's so important.
Absolutely. Yeah. I did a YouTube video about this about last week. Actually this week. About social media, because I feel like, especially in this day and age where the business is going, I've been in casting offices where they ask you have Instagram, how many followers you have, and stuff like that. So I think it's very important for people to have social media. I know there's a lot of trolls. I know I'm a troll, but it's definitely essential to have that, because it is a marketing tool. You want to represent your brand. And my thing is, once you become demanded instead of demanding, then you can kind of take a step back and relax from it.
Good point. But I'll also say this: a lot of people feel like just because they got a shitload of followers and all that, oh, I don't need to have any natural talent, or I don't need to work on my acting or anything like that. They're just going to see the numbers and hire me. But no, you got to work on your skill as well. You can't just say, boom, I got 1 million subscribers or 1 million followers, but you're not good at what you do, or I'm just going to try acting, but then you suck. No, like that's the honest. So it's like, you still got to work on that. You got to work on that too,
Yeah. Oh man, you hit it right on the head. I mean, and you cursing too. I mean, what else can we have?
I'm sorry, man. I didn't know if
good.
I could, because I do. No, I didn't know if I could.
I'm just busting your chops. Don't worry.
I don't know if this is like HBO, No Limits. If I can go crazy, start dropping all types of F-bombs and all that shit.
I've had people, take freedom of speech to. It's all good. I just like busting people's balls. This is like a comedy show where I sit down for me.
That's stuff, yeah.
So for you, how has the government shutdown been for you? Because as we all know, the entertainment industry is very slow right now, and I'm grateful my agent has been working hard to get me work, but it's very slow. For you, how has it been? How have you been able to motivate yourself throughout this time? Because I still see you putting out motivational tweets and stuff like that, asking people how their day going, how their career's been. How's it been for you?
I mean, it is tough, especially those first couple months where things were literally all locked down. You couldn't go to anything. There was nothing going on. It was tough. But I told myself a couple months ago, I gotta make something. I'm getting cabin fever, man. I mean, I'm feeling like Jack Nicholson in The Shining, dude. Like it's just like some crazy stuff, because it's like when you're inside, and don't get me wrong, like my heart goes out to everybody. I know it's real. I know people get sick, all of that. But I'm telling you, people don't talk enough about the mental health. If you're an artist, if you're somebody that's always out there working or trying to work and hustle, and then you're just basically locked down, right, it does something to you, man. So I did a one location contained feature film a couple months ago, right, and it was cool. No one got sick. No one had a fever. It was cool. We didn't go crazy. And it's just like, you take everything with a grain of salt too, because here's one other thing, and I'm not casting the blame on everybody. I think we all got to step up and be more responsible, but we see with social media, with the media, whatever side of the aisle you are with the media, every single thing have their own agenda that they want to do and perpetuate, and you perpetuate fear. And I'm sure the pandering and the patronizing is the worst. Don't insult people's intelligence. People are smarter than that. Don't pander to it. That's what I'm saying. It. Left, right, and center, politicians, they pander. They pander for all that. And you know what? To the average person, to the person that's usually kind of in the middle, not extremely on either way, it's insulting to people's intelligence.
100%. And we're not going to get into politics or some and stuff like that. But I think it's very important to address that, because I've done a few episodes where I addressed the fact that especially right now, you're seeing with the election, everything's based off fear, is based off racism, is based off COVID, is based off white supremacy, and it's pushing the narrative. And I don't see uplifting. I don't see people trying to help
They-
others. It's more about instilling
absolutely.
fear. And I can't get aboard with that. And it's not even just about politics. It's just in general. It's
It's
just so much hate.
draining. It's scaring people to keep them in boxes and in check to what they have to do. And instead, when's the last time we even saw one kind of positive story getting thrown out there? Everything has to be twisted towards the negative. Everything has to be twisted towards that for ratings, for trying to score points, and it's crazy. And I don't know. That's what I think. And honestly, that's what I think a lot of people think. Even if they're worried about saying it, that's what I think. And I agree with you. I'm not even getting political. You can just see it. Have your eyes open and see it. And I even posted, I think the other day, like, damn, man, I sign on Twitter and it's draining seeing people argue all the time. And
I
it's
saw
like,
that. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And I'm like, if I could just be one person that doesn't get into that horse shit, I'm all for it, because I'm like, dude, do you really want to spend every waking day arguing with other people? Yeah, there's bad shit going on. Of course that. We know that. But it's like, dude, like,
It's
calm the
disgusting.
fuck down. Like, just
Yeah.
let's talk. Like, just chill. Like, focus on some good shit for a change. Like, just a little bit. Balance yourself out, you
Right.
know?
100%, man.
But
And I want to tie this back to acting because
yeah.
one of the things I addressed in my YouTube video I did was the fact that you have to be careful what you put out there because I like to troll, I like to bust people balls and stuff like that, but I also know that I have to be professional because if a casting director sees it, if a director sees my feed and they see all I do is cause trouble or I'm not promoting a certain type of thing, it can
Mhm.
cost you work. So I want to ask you, do you think it's very important for actors to keep their social media, separate? If they want to have that luxury of to have their personal life, they should create a separate one and separate.
That's a really good question. I think you got to stay true to yourself, but also be smart in terms of knowing, all right, like, is this shit going overboard, or is this shit gonna, I mean, think about it. Think about Kevin Hart. Think about a lot of other stuff. People drag stuff from 10 years ago and try to nail you and all that. And Twitter can be pretty toxic with that type of stuff. I'll say something else in terms of just negative. Um, Earlier in the year, actually in January, a friend and colleague of mine, he passed away. He was in my film Chase. He died of drugs and all of that. And when I posted saying, the first post was like, heard horrible news that one of my actors in my film passed away. And I'd say I got 99% love. I got 99% people doing that. And then there were a couple people that didn't even follow me that are like, oh, you're just doing this to exploit his death by plugging your film. And that is freaking ridiculous. Yeah, no, it's nonsense. And I had a couple of actors in that film, thankfully, and I appreciated it, come to my aid and be like, dude, that's not what Mike's doing at all. Like, what are you talking about? You don't even know this guy. You don't even know the type of friendship that I had, and just posting that. So it's like some people, they just do some really insensitive, crazy shit. It's one thing, again, if you're a clown, if you're doing that, but it's like that type of shit, really, like, you're going there with that, and they don't even know it. They don't even know the situation. They don't even know. They're just, I think, too pissed off at their own life or their own, I don't even know why they're doing that shit. But yeah, I mean, you can post what you want. Yeah, you got to be a little bit careful, but stay true to yourself, man. Don't compromise. Like, for me, I make action films. I make thriller films. I make people, doesn't matter who you are, you'll get killed in my films and all of that. Like, that's just how it is. And I'm not going, I mean, those are the type of films that I want to do, and I want to stay true to my vision. So yeah, man, you know,
Yeah, oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's why I started this podcast, not just to talk about controversial issues and stuff like that, but it's
yeah.
because I wanted to have that creative outlet to speak freely without, because I feel like for someone like me,
Mhm.
um, I'll always have the support, but I don't want someone like, hey, I'm gonna call your agent and tell them that you're saying this, you're saying that, and you hurting people's feelings, and I
Right.
don't want that. And I get, you have to have, stay true to yourself, which I do, but I also realized this is a business. So you have to be,
Yeah.
if you go on auditions for Disney Channel and they see that you're doing, non-PG or family-friendly stuff, and people start,
Right.
it becomes you have to be
It's
smart
tough.
about it.
It's riding that line. It's riding that line, and it's balancing yourself. You're right. You're right about that, and that's also one of the reasons why. And people are free to post whatever they want. That's their right. But I don't get into. I don't use my platforms for political stuff. I
Right.
don't. I
Right.
don't because, and that's fine. And I have my own thing. And I actually, I respect people who even today I heard Shaq said that he voted for the first time, but he wasn't going to tell somebody who he was voting for. And you know what? I respect that. I respect that actually, because you know what? He doesn't need to say who he voted for one way or the other. People can guess, make assumptions, whatever they want to do, but they don't need to do that. So my point is like I try to just focus on spreading just good shit and my film work and just all of that, man. That's what it's about. I don't have time for this negative. I don't have time for it.
So, you mentioned that anybody could die in your movies, right? Because you do action movies, which
Yeah.
I love. I love the action and the horror genre.
Yeah.
Um, but so how do you feel about diversity in the business now? Because there's always been that running joke of the black guy always dies first, and the
Right.
dumb
Right.
blonde that always gets killed. But we're seeing more inclusion in the industry. We're seeing a lot, especially with Netflix. Um, you know, some people are always gonna say, "Oh, they just pandering to the people," but I think it's very important to have that conversation where you're seeing less of the action star physique. Obviously, if you go for James Bond, you might have to cut up weight and stuff like that.
Right.
But you're seeing
Right.
different body types. You're seeing more people of color in leads. You're seeing more people in the LGBT community getting representation. How do you feel about that?
No, I mean I'm all for it. I think that everybody has something to bring to the table. That's the thing. More unique voices behind and in front of the camera, just going to be better stuff. Just more. I mean, I look at it as a numbers game. We're going to see unique, good content. You're just going to see more content, more stories that you wouldn't be told. It's just like when you get brought to the table, man. Having everybody's got their own background, their own how they lived, everything like that, their own unique experiences that they can bring up and that they can tell. So I'm all for it, man. I don't have a problem with that as well. I mean, if you look at most of my films, I got all types of people, all types of walks of life and everything. And I also think acting, the performance, regardless of what your background is, should be taken into account and very important as well. I definitely think that. But yeah, no, more stuff. And I just even with my film Chase, Ares is the main bad guy in it, kind of throwing it on its head. That's also a thing because he comes from a comedy background and he killed it in the freaking like edgy drama thriller type thing. So
Right.
I'm all for tweaking for all that. My film that we just shot, The Handler, it's kind of this nonstop action film. I got a shitload of badass women in it. I got all types of groups and ethnicities and all of that type of stuff coming to the table, and that's what it's about. It's so yeah, man. I'm all for it. I feel like we talked about a little bit, you can usually sniff out who are just trying to pander, to
Right.
that type of thing. But of course, like in general, I'm all for it. I think that's good. Again, it's bringing unique and different voices to the table, and that's who can be against that.
I didn't get a call to be in your movie. What's going on here? No, sorry.
I
I'm
know.
just, I'm joking.
Hey, dude, you know what? If we would have talked a few months ago, probably would have brought you on. You know, actually, I'll say one interesting thing that you will find interesting. I had a great young actress, Natalie Birdsong. She's awesome. She's actually a former, I believe, former Marine, which is pretty cool.
Oh,
But
nice.
yeah, so she hit me up on Twitter and kind of said, "Hey, Mike, like, please keep me in mind." She sent me this stuff, and she's in The Handler. She's in the film, and she was awesome person to work with. So you never know, man. You take chances could be some good stuff. Worst case, they say no or they ignore you. Who cares? Move on. Best case, you get on board. You know?
You hit it right on the head, but let's get into some juicy stuff. I think this is something that some people might be wondering. What is something, you don't have to give a whole list, obviously, but what are things that you look in when you look for actors? What are qualities and stuff that you look for on set, or when you're, in that stage of looking at people to be in your film?
First, obviously, like, can they take direction well? Do they make strong choices? Are they easy to work with? That's the thing. Are they easy to work with? Like, are they willing to, like, just come and trust me as the director to giving them the best advice? Are they full of passion? Do they have that energy? Do they have that drive? But really also just like, do they love what they do? Are they working at it? Are they studying films? Are they looking at performances? All of that. And again, are they easy to work with? Are they chill? No drama, none of that stuff. Do they work well with the other actors? Because I try to facilitate a positive environment on my sets. I want to try to make sure that most people are really just having a good time. And the handler was one of the best experiences. Everybody really got along. It was just good shit. So I'm all about that. So just hardworking, easy to work with, and just passionate, man.
Kind of relatable to from the actor side, because for me, when I do gigs and stuff, I always look for
Yeah.
that chemistry and that respect, because I've done projects where leads and other people involved in the movie are just very stuck up, very stubborn, and can't take direction. And one of the things I learned, especially over the 10 years I've been doing this, is you have to be able to take direction, because that's very
Yeah.
important. I come from a theater background, so you have to have those strong choices. But if the director says, you know what, we want to switch you to this way, or even in the casting director and auditions, you have to be able to switch that. And
Absolutely.
I've had conversations with directors, casting directors, about that, where there'll be someone good for the project, but they don't take direction well. And I think that's very important for any actor, or someone pursuing a career in the industry, who or just want to get started, be able to have that mentality,
Yes.
because it's hard to, you have to work at it. Like you said, it's all about working. It's not going to come overnight. So but that's a good interesting point that you brought up, was having that quality of being able to take direction, because that's very important.
Yeah.
Now, on the very important side, let's talk about some pet peeves you have. It's all about positivity, but let's be honest here. I'm sure you
No,
have some things that you hate. So
yeah.
what are some things that you despise?
I despise on set people who come on set miserable every fucking day. Pardon my French. All right. There was a crew member on the last couple ones, I'm not naming names, that this dude was just the most miserable person, that just like nothing. He came on set. By the way, we weren't working long ass hours. It was good. And it was just this negative energy that I just could not stand. Everything, negative energy, nothing but problems, no solutions. And I hate that shit. I'm sorry, I hate that shit. Like, dudes acting like we're in the fucking trenches, or in like 130-degree weather, pulling 20-hour shit. That's none of that stuff. So I just don't like that. I don't like that negative. I'm miserable all the time. All I do is bitch. I'm not about it. Nope. Nope. Get your ass out. Nope. So that's something. Sorry, no, I see it, feel strongly about it. Another one, of course, is prima donnas coming in thinking that you're better than everybody else. Everybody else, an actor trying to direct the other actors. That's not your place. That's not your place at all. Yeah, just trying to kind of overtake, just people knowing their roles. All right, we're all cool. But we all know our roles. So it's just like, don't disrespect other people's positions or roles with just because you think that you're the best. and all that. Speak humbly with some of the shit and it'll show sometimes more.
Right.
So, that again, that stuff drives me nuts. It's like some people, and it's fine. Like for whatever reason, if they're coming on set and they're just hating the world the whole time, it's like, dude, no one's forcing you to be here. All right. If you're going to
Right.
be a miserable fuck the whole damn time, why go somewhere else, bug somebody else, dude. So with each film that I do, I keep a lot of the ones that I get along with, I like all that, and then you weed out the ones that for some reason it just isn't working. And then sometimes, you'll do one film and then bring somebody back from a few films ago. So it really depends, but those are the big ones for me that just drive me nuts.
I never understood that myself, the people who come to set miserable, because
Yeah.
look, I don't care if it's a Marvel blockbuster or if it's a small student film. To be
Yeah.
just to have the opportunity to work and get cast in the production is alone just a achievement many actors, thrive for. Some actors can't even
Yep.
book work. And
Yep.
I always find it interesting that people will show up to set miserable, feel like they better than everybody else. And I've seen it,
And
especially.
we all sorry, we all have bad days. I get it. We all do. But when you're coming in consistently every single day, this is just who you are. Nah, dude, I don't want to deal with that.
This industry is all built off impression and your work ethic. So someone like Brad Pitt could get away with being like that, but you can't,
Right.
because you're not in that position where people know that you'll make them $100 million back from a movie.
Correct.
And
Correct.
I always tell people, especially actors, that you have to be respectful. You have to respect the director, even the key grips. You have to
Yep.
respect everybody, because
Yeah.
that's important. I've met. I remember last year before I moved to LA. I was working at a tennis camp, and I
Uh-huh.
was talking to a guy, and I didn't know who he was. I was just helping him out, helping
Yeah.
his son out,
Yeah.
and he came and told me, he was like, yeah, I'm a DP for Gotham and Law and Order.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I've been noticing, your behavior and stuff. When we talked, and he said, well, you're going to succeed because you have that positive attitude and stuff like that. You never know who you're going to meet. So definitely take that consideration, that your image is everything in this business,
Yes. Yes.
so.
And even like, and I can tell you, I know we don't know each other that well, but you got good energy. You just got good energy. You come correct with things, and that's what it's about, man. It's actually not that difficult, yet you'd be surprised how many people are just, people wonder sometimes why they don't work. Dude, stripped away, it's about relationships. It's
Mhm.
about personal relationships, networking, just personal relationships. Why would if people are at the same equal talent level, pull somebody that's negative all the time versus somebody that is just chill and a little bit more positive and I can actually get along with? Simple, you know?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I get that compliment all the time. It's just, I've been through it all. I've been through the trenches, and my career is far from over. But
Mm-hmm.
it's one of those things. When I was talking to my agent, he was like, he had to drop a few people because they had the attitude, they had that stuck up attitude, wouldn't go to auditions because they
Yeah.
felt that he was too good for it. And it's like, it mind boggles me. You're gonna turn down, a $20,000 check just because you don't feel like that.
Exactly.
It mind boggles me.
It makes no sense, some of this stuff. It's just actors turning down some stuff that it's like, dude, you don't know where that could take you. I mean, there must be a reason, but it's like, come on, man, you got to be smart about it, you
Yeah.
know
So
yeah.
let me ask you, because I know there's some mystique about it, and I had talked to a director in the last episode, but I want to get your opinion. What is
Sure.
some misconceptions or fallacies, if you will, that people have of directors and producers?
It's a good question. Man, that all directors are assholes, or just like literally just just like on a fucking cloud throwing lightning bolts down at them and just like literally thinking that they're all like pretentious fucks and just think that they know it all. No, we're learning too. I learn every set that I'm on, I learn something. And I'm an actor's director, so I love working with my actors, just head on and just all that. Like, we're more approachable. I'm an actor where I'm a director where if an actor comes to me and says, "Hey Mike, like, do you mind if I try it this way, or can I give it a shot?" I'm all about it. I'm not going to yell at you. I'm not going to freaking go nuts at you. Like, because you come respectful, you come asking about it. I do let a lot of my actors improv sometimes and ad lib within the limitations of the message and the story. I'm all about it. So basically, one of the biggest ones is, no, we're not all assholes. We're not all fucking
Right.
assholes. So yeah, that's what I would say.
That's a interesting one, because I've seen a lot of people talk about that, and I just feel like obviously there's always going to be that director that's very
Yeah.
crazy. You had the story of James Cameron on the Titanic set being all over the place, but I feel like that's few and far between. I've encountered more polite directors than I have negative. Honestly, it really comes down to your energy and what you bring to the set, because directors usually feed off what energy you bring. If you bring positivity, if they're in the deadline or something, they might just be a little more forceful, but they'll be willing to work with you. If you come on set acting like you're, the Tom Cruise of the show, then you'll get that energy back. So I think
Right.
that's a fair misconception, because I
Yeah.
think it's one that's not overlooked. And I think the biggest problem is because a lot of directors don't talk about their perspectives. And that's not all, but when you see someone like you know James Cameron always in the headline for being crazy, or you see John Fay for being all over the place, you kind of
Right.
get the idea that that's how it is, but it's not. I mean, they're directing
And the thing is, when you reach James Cameron's level, I mean, look, yeah, I've heard that too. He's pretty like rigid, or he goes crazy, but like, look at the films he puts out there, though, man.
exactly.
That's the
Yeah,
thing. I'll tell you something. Even people shitting on Michael Bay all the time, I get it. But first of all, the man makes films that make a shit ton of money, and as we
exactly.
know, look, I'm about the art first, but this is also a business. This is a big.
Mm-hmm.
This is numbers. This is people trying to make some paper. This is that's what it's about. Okay.
Right.
So, look, he's got his thing down. He's got his thing down that, if he's making it, he puts his name on that, stamped on there, it's gonna make a shitload of money. I'm sorry, it is. But so it's all about that compromise. Sometimes that's what I'm saying. Sometimes the best athletes in the world, the best talent in the world, if they're a little bit cocky, you can almost sometimes let it slide, because it's like, fuck, dude, they really are some of the best. They are.
Yeah.
They earn that right a little bit. Now, you do usually want people a little bit more humbled and centered, but hey, I mean, they are talented people, so
Yeah.
can't knock them too much. They're good.
They got the business, and that's I just want to quickly touch on this one,
Yeah.
tied to my next point
Yeah.
is when you, for people who
Mhm.
are just starting out, or are still in the work of their career,
Yeah.
when you get to a certain point, like for me now, when I go on casting offices for uh HBO,
Mhm.
Netflix, Amazon, it's all about I they want you to succeed as an actor, but it's also business. Like right now, it's all business. I'm not trying to be buddy buddy with everybody. Obviously, I want to, but
Yeah.
it is a business. It's all about the overhead. It's all about how much money's coming in, and
Yes.
I think that's why you see articles about these directors freaking out, is because, well, when you got $100 million project on the line, you have to make that return, or your
Yes.
career will suffer. And I'm sure James Cameron and Michael Bay will bounce back from it easily, but
Right.
that's not for
Right.
everybody. So it's very important to understand from the director's perspective. I did directing at one point. It
Mhm.
was kind of intertwined: director, producer,
Yeah.
writer. But it's tough. It's hard, and a lot of people don't understand that. They just think you know directors take the glory from the actors, and I think that's one misconception.
Yeah.
That directors take the glory from actors, but from my experience, and I watch a lot of interviews about this. As a director and producer yourself, you
Yeah.
could probably attest to this.
Yeah.
If the film doesn't succeed, a lot of times, obviously, people might say the acting was trash, but a lot of it falls on the director, you know.
Yeah.
And I watched interviews, listened to interviews about that, where if your project ain't raking in the money that it was supposed to, then your career suffers. Not the act, sometimes the actors, but most of the time it's the director.
Yeah.
Um,
It's almost like you're thinking, if we're given a sports analogy, sometimes the producers are the management, the company, the owners of it, and the director's kind of the coach. The director's the coach. The director coaches the players that are the actors. So yeah, I mean, if the team's screwing up, the coach is going to have a lot of the share to blame. They're going to be, and if it succeeds, likewise as well. So it's all about it. But yeah, I mean, the director's the captain of the ship, and nobody wants it to sink. Nobody wants it to do anything like that, so yeah, I agree.
Now, let me ask you, because this is important, and this is something I'm still a little torn about or confused. What is the exact difference between the director and the producer? Because a lot of people don't know.
So director mostly does, first of all, works with the actors to get the best performances out in whatever the film is, and they're the ones responsible for basically creating the artistic vision, the vision of the script, and to do that. The producer is the one who's, and now again, there's many levels to producers: executive producer, co-producer, producer, associate producer, all that. But a producer in general terms to me is somebody responsible for basically everything in terms of hiring crew, in terms of logistics, scheduling, basically supervising everything. They're the ones that, a producer is not as quote unquote creative as the director is. They're the ones in charge of just everything. They're kind of the CEOs of the company. Whereas a director is more of on the ground floor, on the field, kind of organizing the creative part of it with the actors and all of that. That's at least what I think. If that
I didn't
makes
know
sense.
that. I didn't know that. That's a really,
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people didn't know that either. So it's always
Yeah,
been hard to separate the
of
two.
course.
Now, just to start a little, not controversy, but which one do you prefer? Which hat do you like to wear?
Definitely directing. That's
Director?
the for me. That's an easy. See, you thought you got me. No, directing. Because I love working with the actors, and I love working with my cinematographer, with just mapping it all out. Yeah, definitely. Because producing's tough. It's tough. It's all numbers, logistics, doing all that paperwork. It's tough. Directing, it's like you're there, you're on set, you're doing that. So yeah, definitely directing.
Director. Yeah, I know. I asked you that because Robert Downey Jr. called me and asked me to direct one of his movies. I was
But
like, no, I'm kidding.
oh shit, you got me. I'm like, damn, dude, look at that. I could be interviewing you right now.
Well,
Um,
I'm a humble man. I've always been humble. I always will be humble.
I appreciate that. That's good though.
I try. I like to add some charisma to the performance. That's how I
Like,
got the
well,
name.
you got me, man. I was believing that. I was definitely believing that. That would be something. But
Yeah,
yeah, directing for sure.
yeah. I'm trying to figure out. Obviously I was joking about that, but I'm in talks with Chris Hemsworth to do like this small film, and we was talking about that too, where you want to have a great direct. I'm joking again.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, dude. How much of that you got?
So let me ask you,
Yeah.
as someone who has been achieving some degree of success in your career, what is some advice that you would give future directors, producers, or people who are acting and looking for some insight?
I think, like, kind of we covered a little bit, get on social media, network with people, reach out to people, and just make stuff. Just make, hustle, play 6 degrees of separation, see who's connected with who, and just go out there, and don't be discouraged if you get a no or you get a rejection or a pass or something like that. Don't let that sweat you. If this is what you want to do, you stick with it. But you network, you build those relationships, man. It's Hollywood or this business, it's kind of like an exclusive club a little bit.
Yeah.
You know somebody, they're going to open the door for you, or I mean, it's that type of thing. So it's building relationships, it's networking. That is so freaking important, man. It
Yeah.
really is.
I want to touch on networking a little bit because that's
Yeah.
very important, and people have to understand the difference between networking and harassing people. It's for me, because my buddy's uncle is Chris Messina, who's worked with Ben Affleck and done
Yeah.
a bunch of films. But one of the
Yeah.
things we talked about was the fact that a lot of people, it's a difference between trying to get to know somebody and trying to network them so they can get you opportunities. I
Right.
only talk to him about acting. I don't talk to him about, hey, can you get me in this movie? And that's very
Right.
important. When you network, you want to make sure that it's a mutual respect and it's a mutual friendship. Because if you just, and I only bring that up because in a place like LA, unfortunately, you see this time and time again. And I watched a video about this last night where a lot of people just want to meet you or connect with you because you can get them further in their career. So don't
Right.
fall in that category, because once people find out
Yeah.
about that in this business, everything is word of mouth. You'll meet a director from Burbank who told the director from Hollywood. It all circulates. And that's very important. So definitely when you network, make sure it's about a genuine friendship, and then the business comes when they decide to, not when you decide to, because
I posted about this a few months ago. I had an actor show up unannounced, parked in my place, and yeah, no, I'm serious. And like, there's some crazy shit, man. It's just like, I don't get why people would think that in any way that's gonna help you out. All right, like, I don't know, but people are like that. It's just like, it's common sense shit. Like, don't do something like that. Like, if the person, just build rapport. Like, even if you're not gonna be in, say, one film with the director or the producer, you never know, they could call you for the next one. Like, just
exactly, yeah.
chill. So it's like, don't burn any bridges like that. Don't show up to somebody's house unannounced and all that shit. Like, that really happened. That happened.
That's wild.
Really wild. And this dude drove from a while, and it's just like, don't do that shit. That shit's fucking, that's messed up in a lot of ways. It's like, dude, why? Why? You're doing nothing but hurting yourself doing that. And you're also creeping the person out.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Completely unannounced, man. Completely unannounced. Didn't even let, just showed up. Showed up.
What kind?
Parked in the property. All right. Like, dude, that was some crazy shit. And that happened a couple months ago. So it's like, I don't know, man. Like, that's some crazy shit, but it does happen. And that's what I'll say. One other thing, like, I really do feel bad for some of these people that, really do have a shitload of followers, all that. Not only do they probably get some crazy messages and shit like that, but they probably get this type of thing all the damn time. And it's like, at the end of the day, we're all human beings. I mean, they're human beings. They might have a bigger platform, but it's like, they got the same fears, wants, desires, happiness, sadness that we all got. So it's like, when you pull that type of shit, like, damn, I don't know.
Yeah, just reevaluate your priority. This business, especially when you start leaving it from actors to directors, producers, people notice that. And I've been fortunate to go to the same casting offices quite a few times. And
Mhm.
it's been a good report. They'd be like, hey, Percy, what's going on, man? It's good to have you back. You want to have that kind of report, because even if
Yeah.
in this business, rejection is just 95% of the time.
Yeah.
It's part of the life.
Yeah.
And as you get further in your career, you're going to experience it, but you want to build that rapport naturally. So
Yeah.
now, I've only been here a year, but a lot of directors, obviously because of the hair, but a lot of casting directors, know me because I come in positive. I give
Yes.
my, I come in, do what I got to do, and I don't harass them. I don't stay around the audition, wait for them to come out the room and have a
Right.
5-hour chat. So you have to have that balance. I understand
Correct.
networking is important, but don't harass people because
Yeah.
you're only hurting yourself, So,
It's so
uh,
true, man. It's so true. And no, dude, even when we just started talking, man, I mean, it was chill. Like, we were just talking like there was none of this like crazy hounding type stuff. And I appreciated that, man. Like that's how it should be. Like, don't be a fucking stalker, basically. I mean,
yeah.
it's that, like, don't do that. Like, to anybody. I mean, to anybody, of course, but like in this business, like there's a difference between being a little bit pleasantly persistent and then just going crazy.
Right. Right.
Oh,
Oh, I didn't tell you. So it's gonna be $5,000 for this podcast. So I'm expecting
okay.
payment.
That's right. That's right. Let me write out the check now. Bust it out. Put my
Oh
cards
yeah.
in
Hey,
front.
rent is due, baby.
Exactly, dude. But yeah, man. I mean, it's common sense stuff, man. Just try to treat people with respect, and if you don't get along or agree with certain people, just don't be around them. Just we can choose who we're being around and who we associate with and who we work with.
Now, to wrap it, because it's a beautiful Saturday. I'm sure we both don't want to be sitting on a podcast talking all
No, this has
day.
been great though, man.
I try to make this fun.
Yeah,
Um,
I
but
like this.
what is one thing from this
Mhm.
pandemic? Because I feel like there has been a lot of negative stuff from this pandemic, but I think this pandemic has allowed, for me personally, um, it allowed me to shift my focus. I've always been into acting, but I realized, especially now with the industries closed, there's not a lot of opportunities. So now I do YouTube, I have the podcast, and
Yeah.
my agents and stuff are amazed by it because I'm out here doing my own stuff.
Yes.
But for you, um, what have you took away from the pandemic, whether it's spiritually, professionally, personally? What is something that you took away?
I agree with you in the fact that it gives you almost more time to reevaluate things in your life in general, and it gives you almost weirdly more creative ways to think. All right, how can I occupy myself? How can I occupy myself creatively? Like, it's cool. Again, you saying your YouTube, your podcast, all that. That's freaking great, man. You didn't just sit down and be like, all right, let me wait another year or whatever the hell it may be for things to just basically go back to normal. You stayed active. You stayed active, which I like. So for me, just been doing writing, just thinking, all right, how can I make a films now in this period? And don't get me wrong, I think that we'll both agree. The minute, whenever it may be, I'm hoping it's sometime next year, maybe earlier, all that, when things really do go back to normal, it's going to be a massive relief. It's like we hopefully people won't take as much stuff for granted. That's the
Right.
thing. Like, even just the simple stuff like going into stores, going into whatever, going to any type of freaking, arena or concert or sports arena, whatever it may be. It's just like, man, that type of stuff we took for granted almost, and now it's just like, I don't know. It makes you more. I think it makes you more grateful for the stuff we had, and all that.
Yeah,
But
I really hope people do take something positive out of this because I feel like, especially as people in the business,
yes,
this has shown you never know when work is coming. Some people
right.
haven't even gotten an audition this whole time.
No,
So definitely, I feel like this has been a good time to reflect and really understand your goals because a lot of people I've
yes,
met, especially in LA, a lot of people move here, lose sight of the goal, and they just kind of get caught up in the emotions of everyday life and they don't put their career
yes,
first. So I think that's very important. If anything, people take away from this is definitely put your career first.
yeah,
Sometimes you might have to make sacrifices. You may not be able to party 3 times a week, but
right,
it's important. And I think the
right.
people who are looking for that one hit wonder, that instant success, it's not happening because this has shown ain't nobody, getting famous right now. Nobody's
Yeah, I was
getting.
going to say if it's just, I think for me, because my film got into a few festivals, and it would have obviously been in person if it wasn't for all this. That one sucked. That one sucked because I'm old school. I love that in person thing. You get the little red carpet with all your actors and crew. You get to take the pictures. You get to do all of that afterwards. You get to talk to your friends, colleagues, whatever after the film. Like I do miss that. That's one of the best. I love going to stuff like that. I love going to the festivals, and especially if your film's getting screened there. I mean
Oh,
that's amazing, man. Like that's one of the best experiences for me. You're there with all people seeing it for the first time. It ends. You're hearing people clap. Then you go outside. You're taking pictures with everybody, and you're talking about the film with everybody. Then you maybe grab a drink or two afterwards. You grab some food. Like who wouldn't want that, man? That's the best. You
it's
know?
a yo. I never understood that. And then like the first feature film I did,
Yeah.
uh, it went crazy. I went to the screening for the first time, and I was like, I see why people enjoy it because you get to
Hell yeah.
not only is the whole crew and cast come together, but you get
Yeah.
to share your story with other people.
Yeah.
And I just found out another film I did just got accepted to like an LA festival, but obviously
Oh, it's awesome,
it's
man.
not in person. Um, uh,
Right.
but
Which
man,
sucks.
that's an achievement a lot of people don't get to experience, and I think that's
Yeah.
one thing that when this whole thing blows over, hopefully eventually next year, and the business come back, don't take everything for granted, like
I
you said, because you never know when the work is coming, you never know when the work is going to
exactly.
dry up, and appreciate every opportunity because I appreciate everybody from directors, writers to the people who work on the lights, the key grips.
Yep.
I appreciate everybody because it's I came in this business to be in it, not for the money. Obviously, the money helps, but
Right.
I
Right.
came in it because I loved it. So I think a lot of people are starting to realize whether they love it or not. And
Yep.
um, but
Uh,
let's end this on a positive note.
yeah. Sure.
Because it's been good,
It's
and
been
I'm
very
sure you got. I got to call back Chris Hemsworth about something.
right.
Um,
Right.
but man, I'm glad I was able to have you because
Likewise.
I've followed you on Twitter for I think like a year now. And we never really talked before, but I figured this is a good time, especially now that I
Yeah.
have the platform to talk.
Yeah.
It'd
Yeah.
be good to do that.
Of
So
course.
where people can watch your movies, find you on social media and stuff like that,
Uh, well, again, Michael Mateo Rossi. Like I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, so you can find me on that. Just look up my name.
and
My
IMDb, right?
and IMDb, yeah. Most of my films that are released are on Amazon Prime. So I recommend my film Chase. My film Chase is on a bunch of platforms, so you can check that one out. My film Shadows is gonna be released probably in a few months, not released yet. That's probably my best film. And then The Handler's getting edited right now. But yeah, like Amazon, Google Play, iTunes, like all of that type of stuff. You can usually find it some other platforms. So yeah, man, and just I try to be approachable. So if you follow me, if you do all that, like you reach out, I'll say what's up. It's no problem. You
All
know,
right, yeah. So that's a good way to wrap it. I'm still expecting that $5,000 payment.
of course, man. I'll send it. It's already in the mail, dude. I'll get it.
Treat it as like a SAG, dude. You have to pay your
Of
union fee.
course, right? Do that. No, but this was good, man. This was good, and it's always nice talking to fellow creatives about the business and about life, man.
Yeah, man. I miss that the most.
Yeah,
And I don't want to keep dragging it on, but that's very important to have those conversations because although my podcast is more centered to starting conversations for controversial issues, I think I like to promote positivity. So this was a
cool.
great segment in between all the stuff that's going on in this world to just bring it right back down to the basic, which is what I love and what you love, which is
Yeah,
acting and the business. So, without further ado, let's wrap this up so the people don't go to sleep.
perfect.
Um, everybody know me at this point. If you watch it, you can follow me on Instagram at Mr. No Days Off Percy, Twitter at Mr. _ No Days Off. And yeah, this podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, pretty much any website you could or podcast app you can find. And like I said, I got to call Scarlett Johansson. So with a better hand,
all of them, Scarlett Johansson, Mark Ruffalo, the Russo brothers, all of that. Yep, got everybody, huh?
We gotta get the Avengers assembled again.
Totally. No, but this was great, man. And let's just keep that positive vibe going, man. That's what it's about.
Absolutely. And like I always say when I end it, a helping hand is a better hand. Thank you, Mike.